Hello and welcome to Friday's bonus edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I get to tackle a cryptic crossword, what the channel was originally designed for. Every Friday, either Mark or I attempts the Times cryptic crossword, which is almost always the hardest of the week. That certainly seems to be the case this week. There's an unofficial rating system for the Times crossword called the Snitch. If you just type Times crossword Snitch into Google, you'll find it. And this is certainly rated harder than usual. In fact, let's have a look at the stats. Oh, well, having said that, John McCabe, that's still a very fast time there, just under 5 minutes. Pontius is a typist, I believe. Magoo is Mark, so that's definitely a real time, 6 minutes 31. And Andy Fisher is definitely real. Andy Fisher, 10 minutes 46. That's a lengthy time for Andy. So it's definitely a hard puzzle, and I'm not seeing any other names I definitely recognise there. Let's just have a quick look down. Tom Stubbs, 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean that's GL Hurd is real as well, and that's going to be much larger than, or much longer than their usual time. So it's definitely a tricky puzzle. I don't think I've got any news for you today. Just an appeal, I suppose. Mark and I are hoping one day we might reach 600,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're about 596,000 at the moment. So if you do enjoy our videos and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to a YouTube channel, and it might help us to reach a goal one day. Let's get cracking with this one. Have I got that in the right place? Yes. Right, one across. Girl wearing long mac, unsettled, poor poet. Okay. Well, I don't know what this is, but if I was guessing as to how the clue is structured, remember these cryptic clues can always be read as sort of mathematical equations. So here we've got girl, and I think that's going to be a 3-letter word for a girl, and literally a girl's name. Or it could be gal or something like that. Wearing, so the girl is going to be wearing, so inside, long mac unsettled. Well, if you unsettle letters, that suggests anagramming them. So I think it's going to be an anagram of long mac around a 3-letter word for a girl. Now, this is the only bit I'm slightly troubled by. Poor poet is a really odd definition, so that's all going to equal a word for a poor poet. Something man. I mean, I don't think it's not going to be like Wordsworth. These answers can't express, you know, the sort of subjective opinion of the crossword constructor about, you know, the relative merits of particular poets. So it's going to literally be a word, a real word for a poor poet. I don't know it. I might know it, but it's not occurring to me. Let's have a look at one down. Eastern princesses, aren't they Ranis? R-A-N-I-S. I see rushed into short film. Ooh. I see. That's sort of that makes me think of aha or eureka. And bear in mind, you're almost always going to be trying to think of short synonyms, especially in the wordplay to these clues. So I see and aha. Maharishi or something? Into short film. Oh, run. Maharani? It's something like that, isn't it? Because I could put aha and then rushed. If you rushed somewhere, you ran there, and that could go. Oh, a film is a mist. Oh, that's very clever. Okay, Maharani. So I thought of Ranis, which I think are Eastern princesses, but maybe Maharanis is just a longer version of that. And the way it works, I see is aha, rushed is ran, and then short film, we need to think of a word for film. Now the clue writer is deliberately trying to make us think about a movie film. That's what I was thinking of when I read the clue. But actually what we need is a different type of film. A mist is a type of film, isn't it? It's a sort of a thin layer, or something that obscures your view. And then shorten that, MIS, we miss off the T, and we can get the construction. Now that should be very useful. Let's hope. What's this going to be? National something maybe. perhaps time, national service. Oh, that's very topical in the UK, where there is a proposal to reintroduce national service. Perhaps time spent working with arms. Race to maintain. Okay. Well, the race being referred to here is the Grand National, which is colloquially sometimes just called the National. And if you maintain a car, for example, you would service it. So national service, I think, is going to be the answer there. I wonder if this... I think that the run-in, the sort of lead time on Times crosswords between when they get submitted and when they get published is, I think, at least several weeks and possibly months. So I'd be very surprised. I think this is just serendipitous. I don't think this is deliberate. 17 across. Friendly rowing mate. Geek. Mainly after spring loop that holds right... I mean, there's an awful lot going on there. I mean, if I'm guessing, I would say it means friendly. And the only reason I think that is... Well, it's the word holds, really. Because if a string of letters holds a different string of letters, that suggests to me it's wordplay. So holding right. The other possibility is that the whole thing means bit, which is really... I mean, it could do. It could do. Friendly. What's a rowing mate? That's like a fellow crew member. Or friendly rowing. How could it be? Friendly rowing. Sparring. Sparring partner. There you go. That's it. Wow. I don't know how yet, but I'm sure that's right. Because a friendly... I read it as friendly rowing mate, which I think is... I mean, it's very, very good clue writing, isn't it? Because that's just how you would read this. You wouldn't... You know, in English, we don't think of a friendly rowing mate. But this is the beauty of the language. But when I do read it as a friendly rowing mate, a sparring partner seems very, very likely to be the answer. Now, let's see if we can work out why. Geek. Simon doesn't fit. Mainly after spring. Oh, spring is going to be a spa, as in bath spa, or, you know, it's a spring of water. Loop. A loop is ring. Holding right, that's going to be this R. So what's the geek then? Nerd. Most of nerd. Yeah, right bit. Gosh, okay. So, geek. This will take some deconstruction, but I think I now understand it. Geek mainly is saying take the most of the word geek, or a word for geek, which is nerd, and that's this NER. Because that's all going after the rest of it. So we've just dealt with the last three letters. Now, spring loop that holds right is spar, S-P-A, and ring for a loop, holding R for right. Can be abbreviation R and L, right and left. It's probably something you've seen in real life. Sorry, it's very windy again today, so my window's rattling. And then bit, a bit is a part of something, and that's what this part is doing here. Well, I mean, to be honest, we're very lucky because getting two sort of 15-letter answers into the grid early is, or ought to be, helpful. Let's try and go back to one across, though. Well, I said it was going to be an anagram of long Mac around a word for a girl or a girl's name. Poor poet. Unless it's... Unless rather than being a bad poet, it's literally referring to a Boracic poet. Are there any famous poor poets? I want it to be something like McGluckin or something. I don't know. I don't know, sorry. 9 across. Somewhat cracks tile in dwelling place. Somewhat cracks tile. Okay. So again, let's try and read this as a mathematical equation. And The word I think I don't know what this is yet. No, I have got it now. The word that gave me how to read the clue correctly was the word cracks. My phone is buzzing. Right, so because cracks, if one word cracks another word, what might that mean in a cryptic wordplay sense? Well, it might mean that it's in the middle of it. It goes into sort of a crack in that word. It cracks it open. So can we think of a short synonym for somewhat inside a short synonym for tile? Now, that's the tricky bit, because tile is an old word. I want to say there's one of those old music hall songs. Any old iron, any old iron, any old iron. And his father's old grey tie on, but I wouldn't give you tuppence for your old watch chain. Old iron, old iron. Sorry, that's ringing the vaguest bells with me, that there's some lyric about tile. Same old tile. I can't remember it, but yeah, a tile refers to a hat. So hat with this H here looks great, doesn't it? And that all equals in here is saying if we do these things, that's what we'd find in a word that means dwelling place. Or can we think of a 7-letter word for dwelling place that begins with H? Well, I thought of the word and thinking it might have hat around the outside. What about habitat? And that has a bit in it, and somewhat, if something is somewhat something, it's a bit of it. So habitat is going to be the answer there. And then 12 across. Oh, Samurai Warrior. I've been watching Shogun recently, the new Shogun series, and enjoying that very much. I read originally the James Clavell books when I was quite a young teenager, I think, and I loved them. Yeah, anyway, I remember being confused at that time by what short selling was, which is weird. Now, you know, as you grow older, you learn about such things. Samurai Warrior, ultimately, yeah, I mean, short selling I don't think was in Shogun, but it was in, I want to say, no, I better not say in case I'm spoiling a book for anybody. Samurai Warrior, ultimately, in on swapping places, Ronin. That literally it came up in yesterday's Shogun episode. So I think Ronin is spelt like that, and it means, I think is it some sort of mercenary? Maybe it literally means a samurai warrior, but I thought it was sort of a Japanese mercenary. So how does this work? Or maybe Ronin is just samurai. Warrior ultimately is R. In on swapping places. Yeah, okay, so it's saying take the word in and take the word on and swap them round. And that would give you on and then in, and that would give you Ronin. So in fact, maybe we should, I'm not changing the answer, so I'm happy to look in the dictionary. Let's look up Ronin. A lordless samurai. That's lovely. What a lovely word. Oh, and we should look up Maharanis as well. Maharani. The wife or widow of a Maharaja, a woman with the rank of a Maharaja in her own right. Okay, so it doesn't say Rani there, does it? Which is what I thought it was going to say. Let's look at Rani. Feminine of Raja. Yeah, an Indian print. So it must all come from the same root. But yeah, it's not quite there, is it? Under Maharanis itself. Okay, let's have a look at this. African Republic. Well, it must be Gabon, isn't it? Against holding up talk. Yeah, okay, so if you talk, you gab. And if you're against something, you might be leaning on it. And the word for against, i.e. on, is holding up. Now, this is a down clue. So it's supporting. It's lifting up. Yeah, it has the word gab is exerting pressure upon the word on. Oh, oh no, this is this weird one. This might be, I might never know what this is. Let's see if we can get 3 down. Never reprehensible, Solver's magazine, now defunct. Never, not on your life. Not on your Nelly. It's going to be something like not on your life, isn't it, I think. Now I don't know why, though. Reprehensible. If something's reprehensible, it's not on. Solvers, your magazine now defunct. Is Life magazine now defunct? I didn't know that, but it could be. I have heard it as a magazine. So I think magazine now defunct is presumably referring to Life. And that gives us that one. So it looks like our anagram of long Mac. Oh yeah. I don't know actually. It's ringing the vaguest of bells. This is a worry. I'm gonna have to be very heavily reliant on these checking letters if I don't, you know, if my brain doesn't remember the word. Possibly become jolly. Go to sea. Jolly is a euphemism for a sailor. So go to sea, I think. Possibly become jolly. Having acquired, if you've acquired something, you've got it. Rounds each. Okay, right. Each can be abbreviated to EA. And then OS is rounds, because the letter O, believe it or not, is a synonym for anything round. So rounds here are literally O's, O's, and let's show you that is valid. If we go to O, anything round, it literally says it, anything round or nearly so, under the definition of the letter O, so as a noun. And then each. Yeah, I say this every week, but it bears repeating. You can't just abbreviate any answer or any word in a cryptic crossword clue to its initial or its first couple of letters. It has to be supported by the dictionary. If we look under EA, you can see it literally, it has to say it, and it does. Abbreviation for each. And that is why it's valid for this EA here to exist in the answer. Oh my goodness. McGonagall then. It must mean McGonagall. Magon. Magon. Now what's this? I'm just really okay. There's only two. Girl. Well, I want girl to be gal now. So what's this word? That should be a C. No, I don't like this now. Sorry. McGonagall. I mean, Minerva McGonagall? I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Poor poet. But this, if I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What letter is this? Is this L or is this C? Boy into minor sets of exercises. Pilates? I don't know why it would be that. I mean, I think that the wordplay here suggests we need a word for a boy, which could, so short synonyms for boys. It could be a boy's name, but I'm thinking it's more likely to be lad or son. And that's going to go into a word that means minor. And the whole thing will mean sets of exercises. What is it when you... No, in yoga you have you have positions, and what are they called? Oh, but I don't think that you refer to sets of exercises in yoga. I don't know, I'm not sure. 13 across. Result of heavy fall, snowdrift. May be sought to involve present. Doctor, I like snowdrift now, or snow something, because the word for present, a short synonym for present, is now, isn't it? So how about that? Snowstorm. Oh, it's snowstorm, is it? No, doctor is DR. Snow... Sift, if you sift, you sort. Snowdrift was right. Okay, so result of heavy fall is a snowdrift. May be sought. A short synonym for sought is sift, and that involves, so it includes, a short synonym for present, now, and an abbreviation for doctor that I'm sure we're all familiar with, DR. So this one, so it looks more like sun in the middle, doesn't it? Sets of exercises. Don't know, what's this, under something? Or cider? Newton under. Once the word under appears in the clue, it's very unlikely this will be the word under now. Newton under tree catches Herbert going off seniors at Trinity. Well, it's like undergraduate or something, but that wouldn't be the wrong. That would be the wrong number of undergraduates. Seniors at Trinity. Trinity is a college I'm quite familiar with. I used to be at Queen's College, Cambridge, so I would walk past Trinity College quite often. I don't know. 6 across. Either of two Old Testament books briefly withdrawn before end of religious service. I'm wondering if that's mass. Yeah, I wonder if that is. I'm wondering if... I'm going to show my ignorance of the names of biblical books here. But I'm wondering if there was a book of Samuel in the Old Testament. Is that possible? And if there was... Because what I'm trying to think about is whether there could be two books of the Bible, two Old Testament books, that could be shortened to give the word Sam. So Samuel feels right. Samaritan? No, there's not a book of the Bible called Samaritan. I'm sure there isn't. Or Samaritans. Or there might be something like Somalians or something. But let's imagine that was right, that Sam was an abbreviation for two books of the Bible. Then if we reverse the word Sam, we get MAS. And that all goes before the end of the word religious. Well, the end of the word religious is S, and that would give us the name of a service being a mass, as in something you would have at church. So I think the one I'm worried about here is this A. Let's have a look at A. Amphibian looks right, cold-blooded type. Foreign character is probably a Greek letter phi. Divides churchless environment. Ambience or something. Let's have a look. Amphibian. Ambience. Yeah, that's right, isn't it? So it is ambience for an environment. Lose without church. Now this is hard. As you may say, how on earth does churchless mean remove CE from a word? Well, this is classic crossword ease, and it must make these puzzles so intractable to newcomers. But if you see the word church in a cryptic crossword, it is almost always going to refer either to CH, and that's what you might find on an ordnance survey map. You know, if there's a church, it will literally have CH as its abbreviation, or CE, which stands for Church of England. So let me show you those. CH. Oh, no, it will be there. Church. There we go. CH, church. Now, if we go CE, Church of England. There it is. So, when you see church, it's almost always one of those things. So, churchless is saying remove CH or CE from something. And I think it's a word for environment, ambience. So, amphibian, cold-blooded type. Phi is the Greek letter for the foreign character. That's a very common trick that cryptic crossword writers like to use. They use foreign characters, so you're trying to think of, a foreign person, but it doesn't mean that. It means a foreign letter. And a lot of the foreign letters, especially the Greek alphabet, are incredibly useful sort of dyads or digraphs that can be used to construct words. Like words like new and mu. These are Greek letters, so you can do a lot with NU and MU. Let's try 8 down. King enters rising river for sport. Right, I think this is skeet. as in skeet shooting. There could be other possibilities here, because I think what the clue is saying is think of an abbreviation for king. Now you may think, well, that must be K then, from chess notation. But it doesn't have to be, because believe it or not, R is also a valid abbreviation for king, because of rex from the Latin. Rex, there it is, rex Latin king. So it could be saying R enters a rising river. Or it could be K enters a rising river. Or, if it's 2 letters for king, CR is our king at the moment, King Charles. So Charles Rex is CR. So, it doesn't need to... If it was King George, say, it would probably say king once enters. So if it was, GR that the constructor needed, it might give an indication. But I think king could be R, K, or CR at the moment. There's another tip, actually, that just occurs to me that I'll mention. I believe it is true to say that the cryptic crossword must not mention anyone alive except for the current monarch. Now, that is a weird rule, but I think it is true. I might be wrong. I might be wrong about that, but I think that's right. So where we see Newton here, obviously Isaac Newton has been dead for quite a while, so that's fine. There's no embargo on that. Anyway, we're getting distracted. Rising river. Well, this is a nightmare. This is a nightmare, especially if you're solving this from the States or somewhere that's not embedded in English culture. Because you do need to know, or you may need to know, the names for all of these, Weir, the Tyne and Weir. So Weir is a river. Weir is spelt like where. I think this is Tees, T-W-E-S. So Teesside, you may have heard of as a place. But all of these, like Tayside, there's so many short synonyms for rivers, and they're all in play in these crossword clues. Now, so the only question here, this is definitely supported by the wordplay, skeet, is whether skeet is really a word for a sport. I've heard of skeet shooting, but is that also just known as skeet? Or maybe a skeet is the word for the game being the bird that's being shot, and sport is also a word for the game being shot. I mean, I'm very confident about this, but there is a tiny scintilla of doubt. Let's see if we can get... Yeah, this would be good. It would help me with 5 down, which might help me with 1 across. Tower or tower, made of alloy, last bit secured by drill. Oh, bore? Tower. Made of alloy. Oh, steeple is the only thing I'm trying to work out why steeple might be the answer. I don't like it. That would get, oh, elder something. Oh, that elder wouldn't be bad. Seniors at Trinity. Maybe they have got a funny name for sort of senior undergrads at Trinity College. Elder freshmen or something. Herbert going off. That feels like an anagram of Herbert, doesn't it? Yeah, and I bet you could put an anagram of Herbert in the middle here. So if that's right, or or alder, isn't that a tree? Isn't there an alder tree? But then, yeah, something like elder brethren. I bet it's that. I don't... Elder brethren, because that's got an anagram of Herbert in the middle of it. So, Newton is going to be this N. And that's underneath a tree, which is going to be, I don't know what the tree is. I know you're probably thinking, well, just write the answer in, Simon. But I can see Herbert is there. So where is the anagram of Herbert? Because that's going to matter in terms of the construction of the tree I'm trying to work out. And whether this is elder or possibly alder or possibly something else. I think it's... And sorry for taking my time over this. Cryptic crossword writers have to be incredibly precise about the ordering of things. And the reason I'm just hesitating here is Newton is very clearly N, as in the SI unit, the Newton here. Now, that goes underneath a tree that catches Herbert going off. So it's not good enough to say, well, there's an anagram of Herbert here. That must be what that's referring to. No, then the clue construction would not work. Because the tree has not caught an anagram of Herbert, if this is the anagram of Herbert that's being referred to. So that suggests that the anagram of Herbert that's being referred to has to shift up slightly. And it can't just shift up one letter, can it? Because the letters wouldn't work. It has to shift up two letters to be this anagram, H-E-R-B-E-R-T. And that would make the tree that we're trying to find blank blank D-E. And I don't think that is ALDE is the name of a tree, or ELDE. So I need a tree blank blank DE, if that's right. And why can't I just do that? Okay, I don't know. I'm really in trouble in this top part of the grid. Let's try 16 down. Oh, it's about to cough. Sneakily picked up things from kit that's unopened and apparently locked. Sneakily picked up things from kit that's unopened and apparently locked. I have no idea what this is, but I'll just tell you one thing that I'm thinking. Apparently locked, question mark. What's a question mark doing in a cryptic crossword clue? Very often it's saying you have to read this part of the clue in an incredibly punny way. So apparently locked, you might be thinking, oh, a door might be apparently locked if it's if I could see that the lock was in there. I'm thinking locked might mean something to do with hair. And if something is apparently locked, it might look like it's got hair, because locks, as in locks of hair. That's how I'm thinking about the clue. Now, that doesn't seem very useful, because I can't think how on earth that relates to E blank R. But maybe at some point, the light will shine upon us there. Let's have a look at 21. Bones, one small animal from the rear. Tarsi or something. Yeah. So 1 is this, I, as in 1, or you can think of it as the Roman numeral for the number 1 if you like. Small, if you saw that on a t-shirt label, you would be in no doubt it would refer to a small size, so that's what S is doing there. An animal is a rat, and this is all reversed, it's from the rear. And tarsi, I think, is the plural of tarsus, which is some bone. Now 22, dip inside opera, okay, opera Italia. So I get to say this most weeks. if there is one of this type of clue in a cryptic crossword, well, in the Times cryptic crossword, there will only be one. In the quick cryptic, sometimes they have more than one, but in the full-blooded Times cryptic, which is what we're doing, there will only be one of these clues, and it's a hidden clue, where the answer is actually written out in the clue. Now, if there is such an opportunity for this type of clue, the constructor can't just hide the answer in the letters of the clue and not tell you that they've hidden the answer. There has to be something to tell you to look inside the words. And here it's literally the word inside. So it's saying we need to find a word for a dip. Inside, so look inside the words opera and Italia, and you can see spelt out writer, or I don't ever know how to say that. Is it writer or anyway, R-A-I-T-A, which I think is that like cucumbery white dippy thing, isn't it? Now, okay, let's try 19 down. French biologist. Well, I'm thinking Louis Pasteur. That might prove to be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking. If I was asked to name another French biologist, I would probably struggle. Beyond, past, regret when backtracking. Well, if you regret something, you rue it. So that one was easier. 24 across. Bringing in rain, nag falters. Okay, this is a very straightforward clue. So again, the word falters here. It could be if letters falter, they'd sort of stumble around, wouldn't they? So it could be an anagram indicator. But the other thing that makes this look like an anagram to me, and this may be something that you only gain from experience, but when I look at this clue, I can instantly see that it's an anagram without reading the words. And that's something to do with the fact that my brain is looking at rain, nag, and it resists it as a phrase without even looking at it. The letters just look wrong. It looks like they've been forced. I don't know why that is, but it just doesn't look like a natural string of letters to me. And then the clue's 7 letters, so instantly I know this must be an anagram of rain, nag, and all my brain is then doing is confirming, yeah, are all the bits there? Yeah, okay, falters must be the anagram indicator. It must mean bringing or bringing in. So the answer is earning. Now let's see if we can get this one. Tiny amplifier, Nigeria had developed. Again, Nigeria had. It just screams anagram to me. Developed is the anagram indicator this time. If you develop a photograph, you would change it, wouldn't you? You'd change what was on the paper. So if something develops, it matures, it alters. So Nigeria had is an anagram. And I don't know what the answer is, but it's a tiny amplifier. So what is that? Something air? Then it could end in ing. No. Hearing aid. I was making that much more complicated than it was. A hearing aid is a tiny amplifier. Okay, so what's this then? Let's try and do this without looking at the clue, or at least have an idea. I'm not. Oh, earwigged. Sneakily picked up things. I didn't get it from looking at this. I had to look back at the clue. Sneakily picked up, earwigged, as in to sort of listen without somebody's knowledge. Things from kit. Oh, if you're apparently locked, you are wigged. That was that. So it was to do with hair. That's lovely. Apparently locked, ? To be wigged. Because if someone is apparently locked, you know, they look like they've got hair, but actually, because it's a wig, they don't actually have it. So wigged, I love that for apparently locked ? So, oh, your gear. Your gear is something you'd have in your kit. So if gear is unopened, you just get ear, and earwigged goes in. 18 down. Would, e.g., one in North American story. Narration, narrate, would, e.g. One in North American story. North American. Story, I want that. That feels more like narrative than narrate, doesn't it? So I don't. Our American Story. I haven't got this yet, as you can tell. Okay, let's try and do some others. 15 down. Rigid impression surfacing about new head of Royal Mail. Rigid. Impression surfacing about new head of Royal Mail. Good grief. I think this is probably going to mean rigid, but I'm not sure. Impression surfacing. What does that mean? Is that trying to indicate some sort of reversal? I'm not sure. That's very odd. Let's try 20 down. That would give us some starting letters. Infidel quietly once more abandoning island. I don't know this one either. Goodness. I think this is going to be the name of an infidel. So it's sort of a heathen type. And then quietly is very often P or sh in cryptic crosswords. Oh, phone's buzzing again. P from musical scores, where P will mean play quietly or softly. And quietly, and sh as in if you say sh to somebody, you're saying be quiet. So I'm thinking P or SH there. So it might begin with P or SH, but I can't think of what the infidel is then. And then once more abandoning island is saying think of an island or a word for an island and then remove something that means once more from that. Now that's very awkward, because once more is just again, isn't it? One or over. Don't know. Let's see if we can get some letters. Naked, bare, poke, no good. Yeah, okay. If you barge into somebody, you poke them. And if that has no good in it, G is a valid abbreviation for good. So that could give bare, barge without G. Now, one thing to be aware of with no good is that I believe NG is an abbreviation for no good. It is. So if you do see no good, it might not mean remove the G. It might actually mean NG. But I think that's okay. So what's this then? Ending in B. Probably beginning with SH or P, and it means an infidel. I don't know. Let's try. We're going to have to do this the hard way. Graceful, elegant, no. Fish east of cove. Well, I don't know what this is, but I think this is going to be a word for a fish to the east of, so on the right hand side of, a word for a cove. So here we need a short synonym for a cove. Now the first thing I thought of was a bay, but I don't like that at all as the start of a word that means graceful. And what's the fish with E here? Eel? I never think of a fish as being an eel, but I think it is technically a fish. Graceful. I don't know. Okay, we're going to have to do this the really hard way. Moderates. Final section around enclosures, borders. Final section. What's that? The coda? The last lap? Around enclosures, borders. Moderates. The borders of the word enclosure must be double E, mustn't it? So I need to put double E in here. Goodness, I don't know. Okay, so we're really stuck actually in two areas. 15 down. Rigid now ends in R, unless it means male. I think it might mean male. Rigid. Rigid impression. Surfacing about new. So that must be N. Ahead of royal might be this R. So the whole thing might mean male. Which is going, how, so what could that be? Train? No, I don't like that. I like trans something more. Golly, okay, I'm struggling. Let's go back to this one. Girl wearing long mac. Well, the girl, I feel that must be gal here now. I can't think of another girl. Oh, so, unless it's something weird like Una. Una Stubbs making an appearance. And the anagram fodder we've got here is very nice for long mac, isn't it? But then, if we do put gal there, where do we put the C? Oh, McGonagall. That's what's going on. It was just, I was thinking MAC for McGonagall, or MAG for McGonagall. McGonagall. So McGonagall is going to be like that, isn't it? No, I don't like that. That E is not justified. There's going to have to be another A. Because we need long Mac, which I've now got, around gal. Okay, McGonagall. Why is that a poor poet? I feel like I do know that. I do know the reference for that. But it's not coming to me. So I will rely on the comments, because I've taken quite long enough on this to explain. So I do actually learn a lot from the comments on these videos, because obviously when you pool this amount of erudition, the number of people watching this who are very intelligent people, you can pick up all sorts of clevernesses. So let's go back to this one. Oh, sets of exercises. Okay, minor might be less. And then a boy. Lessons, sets of exercises. Gosh, it's that simple. Sorry, that's awful. That took me a long time. So son was the boy. That goes into less for minor. And if we put that together, sets of exercises are lessons. So this does look like steeple now, doesn't it? A tower. Let's put steeple in for a tower. Made of alloy. Alloy is steel. Last bit secured by drill. Oh, I see. Oh, that's very difficult. Okay, but a drill is physical education, PE. You know, you might have to do a drill in the yard in the army. Your phys ed. So PE is securing the last bit of the word steel, and that gives us steeple, which is tower. So this is elder statesman then, I think. So let me go back to trying to understand the tree. Okay, maybe what it's saying is I have to read Newton under tree. So Newton under elder is securing the anagram of Herbert. That would be grammatically okay, actually. So elder for a tree, N, securing the anagram of Herbert. Yeah, no, that's okay. So I think I slightly, yeah, I slightly misread that before and thought that really the Newton, if this was the Newton, that needed to be under a word that meant tree catching the anagram of Herbert. I mean, you could read it like that for sure, but you can read it as Newton under tree catching Herbert, in which case it is okay for the elder to sit outside the whole of the anagram of Herbert, and we do get elder brethren. Now, I'm going to look that up because I'm not changing it, and I want to see whether it's actually listed in the dictionary. Gosh, the governing members of the Corporation of Trinity House. So it's not even referring to Trinity College, I don't think. Trinity House, a lighthouse and pilot authority for England, Wales and the Channel Islands, originally chartered at Deptford in 1514. Did you know that? Well done if you did, because I certainly didn't. Right, now we're back to this sort of southwest corner. Can I get this infidel? That feels like the most... Quietly once more. Abandoning island. I'm trying to think of an islands, Barbados, that you know, we could take stuff out of. There are a lot of islands though. Barra is an island. Quietly. Infidel. Oh, what is that? Okay, and which one are we going to look at? This one feels gettable. Would e.g. one in North American story. Oh, that's a lovely clue. I can't believe I've got that. Because I feel like I'm only very vaguely aware that Natalie Wood was in West Side Story. And presumably she played Maria. That could be wrong. But that feels right to me. It's ringing the vaguest of bells. So Wood e.g. Now that might mean that Natalie Wood is dead. Because what I said earlier about you can't refer to living people. And that makes me feel slightly sad if that's true. Okay, but why? Why? So Wood e.g. is saying somebody, an example of somebody famous named Wood. So it's not saying, you know, wood as in teak or mahogany. It's saying somebody famous named Wood, which is Natalie Wood. One is this A here. That goes in North American, NA. Oh no, sorry, it's one is going to be I. It wants to do it that way. I was thinking it was lie for story, but it's not. It's tail for story. So we've got NA tail around I for Natalie. And a very cleverly worded clue, because of course West Side Story is a North American story. That's very clever. Oh, eel. Eel is working there. So graceful. So if that is the fish, if the fish is the eel, the cove we need is 4 letters. I feel like I should know some 4-letter words for coves. All my brain is telling me is bay, which is not useful. Moderates final section. Something like ameliorates or something. No, it's too many letters. Around enclosures, borders. Moderates. Final section. I really like that as the sort of ending here. I just need to think of the right word for moderates. Final section. And what's final section? I mean, what is that? Is that referring to the final section of a musical piece? You know, the last part of a sonata or something? Around enclosures, borders. I mean, enclosures, borders just makes me think it must be the bordering letters of the word enclosure, the E and the E. But putting double E here feels horrible. Unless I'm totally misreading the clue, and the whole thing means borders. And then a word for an enclosure might be, well, enclosure can be abbreviated to that, can't it? Enk. Don't like that really either. That would support something like train in 15 down. A rigid impression surfacing about new head of royal male. See, male, I like to think of sort of hobbits wearing mail. So armour, rather than mail as in something that you post. A rigid impression. If you form a rigid impression, a stamp or something. Rigid impression. Surfacing. I think that is going to mean if you surface, you sort of go upwards. So I think surfacing is being used here to say reverse a word for an impression or reverse a word for a rigid impression. And put that around new. N. And the whole thing is going to mean male. And that's very annoying because I just can't see it. There's so much of this that's my brain is about to solve, but it's not giving me. Graceful. I mean, could it be another fish here? It would be much. I mean, cove. Actually, that's a slightly interesting thought. Isn't a cove an old word for a CAD? And that would bring in a whole different range of synonyms for the start of this. Genteel. There you go. Graceful, genteel. So it is eel. It's eel for our fish and a gent for a cove. So that's very clever setting, because how difficult is it? Well, for me, you just saw how difficult it was. What on earth is this, by the way? You saw how difficult it was for me to read this clue out of context. So when I think of fish east of a cove, my brain is going to the seashore and thinking of cove. I mean, how could it be any other meaning? But it is. Let's look up cove. I think it's like an old word for a rogue or a gent. Cove 2. A man or a chap. There we go. That's why gent works there. So what's this then? Infidel. Whoa. Quietly, once more, abandoning island. What? No, okay, this isn't bear, is it? This is pagan. Wow, okay, that's a very unusual occurrence. Wow. Wow. So naked poke, no good. Does solve as a cryptic clue, I think, legitimately as bear. I mean, the only doubt there, now I reread it, and I didn't really, maybe I had the smallest question in my mind, but once it fits so well, I was thinking poke and barge. They're not the brilliant synonyms if you poke someone, and you barge them, they have a different quality to how hard you're interfering with them, don't they? But not hard enough that I was worried it was the right answer. But now I'm thinking this is nude, and it's nudge, not barge, and that's better. A nudge is sort of more of a, if you poke someone, it's more of a gentle reminder. And then that would allow this to be pagan, which I now understand, because it's P for quietly, and then it's once more, again, abandoning its island. It's I, and that is a valid abbreviation for island. So I thought it was going to be take a word for once more, and a word for island, and the word for once more would abandon the island, but it's actually, I need to read it the other way round. And now we've got this one, moderates, palliates. It must be palliates, isn't it? As in palliative care. Final section around enclosures, borders. Oh, it must be this. Hang on. Why is it this? Final section. If you go beyond the Pale was an enclosure in Dublin, wasn't it? I think that was spelt, oh, was that P-A-I-L or was that P-A-L-E? Yeah, no, okay, that's right. It's P-A-L-E. God, I mean, this is very difficult wordplay. I mean, if you're looking at this thinking, I don't understand, I don't blame you. I barely understand it. I've been doing these things for 40 years. So, moderates is palliates. The final section of something is the tail, which is there. And that goes around, so it's reversed. And then enclosures, note the apostrophe S there, is going to border the reversal of the word tail. And an enclosure is a pale, P-A-L-E. We'll look at that in a moment. And this S here is the apostrophe S at the end of enclosures. That's absolutely brutal. I mean, there's so much we could look up there. Let's look up the word palliates, which I'm sure is going to be in there. There we go, to mitigate or alleviate. And then if we look up the word pale, obviously it has the meaning as sort of whitish, but it also... Oh, it's not going to be here. It should be here. Yeah, beyond the pale. Yeah, so the English Pale was the district of Ireland within which the English had power for centuries after the invasion of 1172. I thought that's where the phrase beyond the pale came from, but maybe I'm wrong. But it's clearly an enclosure in that meaning. I mean, that's very hard. That's all I can tell you. So 15 down, rigid impression. Rigid impression. Surfacing about new, which will be that new. Oh, head of royal is now changed. Oh no. Everything's changed because barge bear that I had in here supported the head of male, head of royal being R. What's going on? What? Tram-lined might be. If something is rigid, it might be tram-lined. Is that what's going on? I have no idea why this is right, if so. Right, an impression. Surfacing about new. That must be... Oh, right, no, okay. So, this is not easy either. So new here is an anagram indicator. And it's saying, find a new arrangement of the head of royal, which is R, and the word male. So that's a 5-letter anagram, and you can see in here we've got R and male anagrammed. And then the impression that's surfacing is the dent, D-E-N-T. So impression surfaces, it rises, it reverses, this is a down clue. That all goes around an anagram of R and male, and that gives tramlined, which does mean rigid. And that, I think, is the answer to the puzzle. And that was very hard indeed. Admittedly, I was not helped by not knowing McGonagall, or the spelling of McGonagall. Oh, let's look up, in fact, let's submit first, and then we'll have a look at some of these words. Yeah, okay, so we're correct. Now let's look up Sam and see if it is an abbreviation for 2 books of the Bible. Oh, are there 2 books of Samuel? It says the books of Samuel. Are there 2 books of Samuel? I didn't know that. Okay, so maybe that's why. It refers to either of 2 Old Testament books. So what have we got? We got McGonagall. Maybe I'll just check McGonagall, because sometimes, no, it doesn't look like it's going to be there. Let's do a full text search. No, it's not there in the dictionary. So it is a proper name, I think. Is there anything else? I mean, I was very misled by nude and bear being possible there. I think that's a very interesting opportunity for a vicious trap as well, because with a very tiny tweak to this clue, it could have 2 solutions, couldn't it? I accept that bear is a worse answer than nude, but it's not much worse. Elder brethren we looked up, didn't we? Oh, skeet. I should have looked up skeet. Because it's literally that is a form of clay pigeon shooting. So just as the word itself, it doesn't need any embellishment to be the sport. Go to see Gabon, we understood. Sparring partner. It's a very good puzzle, but some of the wordplay was vicious, absolutely vicious. I think I've looked up everything I meant to. Oh, some people like me to have a go at the fast one, don't they? The quick cryptic. Right. So I'll try and redeem some of my ignorance on that one by racing on this one. Let's see how we get on. I won't give much commentary here. And here we go. By Teasel. Dark-skinned couple making a bow. Cupid's bow or something. Don't know. Fixed time in animal lair. Why can't I get that? Set is the answer there. Commits to notices being displayed. I don't know. Pointine twine. That's easier. Not very useful though. Fetches book and phones home. Brings in. Huge performance by worker in charge. Gigantic. Gigantic. Police force is back for support. Don't know. Work over travelling round EU. No idea. Father fast making high church office. Don't know. It's got Lent in it somewhere, I think. Palent or something. Old musical that needs regular cutting. Hair? Wife finally opening a can. Enjoying home cooking. 8 in. Not getting very good checking letters here. Let's try that T. One offering treatment therapist. The first to include music. It could be. Yeah, it is that. Rap. Gosh, that's quite tricky. Comprehensive, even if approximate. Though rough. Thorough. Frame of mind almost mood. Alcohol I consumed. Food counter in a frenzy. I don't know. Island incorporating. An island is an inch. Incorporating H. Make oneself scarce. Grabbing right. Top coat. Varnish, I suppose. You vanish. What's this one then? Alcohol I consumed at food counter in a frenzy. Delirium. Rock. Oh, that's tricky. Sensitive girl clear all of a muddle. Allergic, I think. That must be rodeo. I didn't really read the clue properly. Married, rolling back years, dewy. That's fresh. Punch, comedian, wag, and gossip, chin wag. Okay, so what's this one? Oh, highest church office, papacy, father, papa. Pacey for fast, it wasn't Lent. Signs up. Police force is back for support. STEM. Opening special broadcast is work of bishop. Episcopal or something. Something like that, I think. What's this one then? Back to some debate. Tab, a key on the keyboard. Making a bow, something tie. Black tie? I think, yeah, black tie is a type of bow, as in a white tie or a black tie. Like a cat, leonine? Yeah, leonine. Leo and 9, how many lives? Rejected some cappuccino, a cup of tea. First course, soup, so up. If you're up, you're revolting. And what's this then? Work. Oeuvre. That's vicious. That's how to solve that one. So that was, I mean, that was not actually very good for one of those, but it was at least not absolutely dreadful. 11th out of 162. So let's have a look. John McCabe, 215. He's a touch typist, but that is still a fearsome time. And you can see, even with a bit of chat there, I beat Tom Stubbs, and Tom I view as a very good solver. So I'm not appalled by my performance with that one. Yeah, there. I hope that was interesting. Let me know in the comments whether you enjoy this. A long video again, but I think people seem to really. I think the Friday video, the Friday crossword video, it feels like it would be a shame if it was only 20 minutes long. I don't know. You tell me. Do you want me to go quite faster? Because we can. But I hope it's useful to those of you who are learning, and spending 72 minutes with me hasn't been too torturous for you. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.